Thanks. Welcome everyone to Trent's virtual open house. It is a very nice day outside today. Hopefully it's just as nice where you are. I recognize that we have students that are joining us from all over the world today as well, which is super cool. But we're going to try our best to show you as what the beauty of the Trent campus is virtually. Okay, I guess we'll get started. But welcome everybody to Trent's virtual winter open house. We are so excited to welcome you to the Pathways to Medicine session. My name is Jillian and I am a proud Trent alumni and enrollment advisor here at Trent University. And I will be your moderator for this session. And with me today, I have a all-star panel, as you can see here, with beautiful hair as we all coordinated today. But today I have Dr. Jessica Barr, Associate Professor and Program Chair for the BAS program. We have Linda Sweeting, Academic Coordinator for the Medical Professionals stream. We have Connor Braid, a fourth-year student who is part of the Medical Professionals stream. And lastly, but not the least, Jacob Van Haften, fourth-year student who is part of the BAS Medical Sciences Trent Swansea Medical Pathway dual degree. We are so excited for the path that you have ahead of you and look forward to sharing with you all of the reasons why Trent has been ranked the #1 undergraduate university in Ontario for 11 consecutive years. During this session, you can ask questions in the chat, which is located on the right-hand side of your screen. And at the end of the session, we'll also have a Q&A portion with members of our panel who can share with you their experiences being in the program. I also invite you to ask again any of your questions and feel free to share with us if there's anything that interests you that we talk about as well, as we do have student staff that will be answering your questions. And on our events page for the event today, we do have many live stream chats happening. So feel free to drop in if you did have any questions after this session or later in the day as well. So with that, let's get started on our topic today. If you're here, you found yourself to the Pathways to Medicine session. So I'm just going to share my screen here. You think that in the world we live in, I'm really fast at this now, but it always takes me some time when there's so many monitors on my screen. Here we go. Okay. And let's figure this out here. Ooh. Give me 1 second, everybody. My screens are not working properly. 1 second here.
It looked good.
It disappeared for me there.
Oh no.
I know, I can't see my own presentation. Okay, let's hope that this works now. Here we go. Hopefully this works. Let me see a thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Wonderful. So again, welcome everyone to the Medical Pathways session. And if you are in this session, you have some interest in pursuing a career in medicine, whether that be a job as a doctor, a pharmacist, a veterinarian, a dentist, a physician assistant, or any other medical related job. At Trent, we do offer many options for you. So let's start with some general information about planning for medicine, like what you need to get into medical school. One of the biggest myths about applying to medical schools is that a science degree is required for acceptance. That is in fact false. In fact, it's highly recommended for you to pursue a degree in the subject that interests you the most. Medical schools are seeking students from diverse backgrounds, and in most cases do give preference based on an applicant's academic program, as long as the prerequisites for eligibility are met. Medical schools are looking for individuals with strong backgrounds in the physical sciences and life sciences, as well as the social sciences and humanities. Each school has their own set of requirements, so you'll want to check with the medical schools of your choice and that you're interested in to ensure that you have all the prerequisites that you need. Another myth buster is that you have a better chance of being accepted to a medical school if you do your undergraduate degree there. But this is not true. It's about your academic and non-academic achievements. And most of all, these are what you'll need and what you'll need to pay attention to while you're doing your undergraduate degree. You'll need a bachelor's degree from any program, so that could be the arts or the sciences. You will need a competitive GPA. You'll need an autobiographical sketch, which features your employment, extracurricular activities, or awards that you may have. You'll also need a completion of a standardized test exam, so the MCAT, and you'll need that competitive MCAT score. And as I mentioned, you could major in any degree and apply to medical school, but here are some of those popular programs at Trent for students planning to work in medicine. It's important to study a degree that taps into your passions and your interests. That way you can excel academically, but also learn content that you're passionate about. Like, for example, I did a degree in biology and sociology, two very different things, but I found a passion between both of them and it fueled my interest to learn more. And it will fuel your drive to motivate you to apply into graduate school afterwards. So here are some of those programs that are pretty popular and some of our students do apply to. There's biology, there's chemistry, there's biochemistry and molecular biology. We have the biomedical sciences and BAS, so the Bachelor's of Arts and Science, are some of the most popular routes for students. But again, you could also complete other programs. So here are a few more. We do have biology with a specialization in the health sciences. You could do psychology and a specialization in health and well-being. You could also do sociology with a specialization in the health studies. And if you're interested in pursuing a humanities degree, you can always add into your program pre-medical studies, which is an option here at Trent that allows you to add a small cluster of courses that are designed to help prepare you for the MCAT. Or you could also do the health and humanities option, where you can take courses that will teach you about arts-based approaches to health, what it takes to make those great ethical decisions in a medical context, and how the arts influence and the cultural views on health and wellness. And again, I also imagine that some of you have maybe applied to the biomedical sciences as well. The courses included in the biomedical science degree give students a solid grounding in the most challenging topics included in the MCAT test. Trent professors know that becoming a physician is not easy, and it is a competitive field with an average success rate of less than 10% for applicants applying to universities in Ontario. The biomed program thoroughly prepares our students to apply to universities or at the end a career in the medical research or fields that interest them. And as well as if you are not successful in medical school, graduate school afterwards or research-based opportunities. Becoming a physician requires a huge investment in time and effort, and you should be prepared to, again, find those courses that interest you and have those supports with you. And here at Trent, we do have those supports, and we're happy to report that many of our graduates have applied to and have been accepted to medical school, veterinary school, like Connor, who will be talking to us a little bit about that later as well, dentistry school, and other medical designations. All the programs that I've mentioned, along with any number of programs as well, like anthropology, philosophy, psychology, and so much more, are great choices where you can get that personalized learning environment while you're here with faculty like Jessica or Linda, who know your name as an individual, know what your passions are, know what you're good at and what your interests are. And they do care about your success. And again, those degree programs that again are helping you on your path to medical school or graduate school afterwards. And one of those programs that we'll be talking about today is the BAS Medical Sciences Trent Swansea Medical Pathway Dual Degree, where students can globalize their degree, preparing to graduate with both a Bachelor's of Arts in Science and a Bachelor's of Science degree in just 4 years, ensuring that you're prepared for a well-rounded future, as well as you yourself are a well-rounded candidate for a guaranteed interview with Swansea's prestigious School of Medicine. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Dr. Barr to explain why the Bachelor's of Arts in Science MedPath is a great option for medical school.
Hello, I'm so glad you're here today. I'm so grateful to be speaking to you from the Territory and Treaty of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe. This is Nagwajiwanong, Peterborough, where I live and work at the wonderful, beautiful Trent University that straddles the gorgeous Otonabee River, and you'll see that in some people's background pictures. I'm talking to you today as the program coordinator for the Bachelor of Arts and Science degree at Trent. And within this wonderful degree option, where we bring together and combine arts and sciences and encourage students to pursue their passions in both sciences and arts, we have this brand new option. It's just kicking off this year. So we're really excited to be sort of launching this for the first time, this partnership with Swansea University in Wales. So the program, as Jillian mentioned, involves getting 2 degrees in 4 years, which starts with a Bachelor of Arts and Science degree at Trent, which is geared toward medical pathways. So it involves taking a good amount of courses in biology and chemistry, but it also encapsulates the Bachelor of Arts and Science experience, which means you get to take really compelling, exciting core courses with me and other passionate instructors, focusing on the interdisciplinary intersections of arts and sciences, and really key skills like critical thinking, thinking outside of the box, creativity, which are all important for future medical professionals. So you spend your first 2 years at Trent, enjoying what Trent has to offer, and then assuming you've maintained your GPA, then you hop over the Atlantic to Wales, to beautiful, beautiful Swansea University. And I think we have a picture coming up.
Hello.
The campus.
Andy.
There it is. So this,
Andy.
oh, if folks don't mind. There we go. So this is the beautiful campus of Swansea University, or one of the 2 campuses. They have a really prestigious medical school. It's ranked, I believe, #1 in the UK, or close to #1. Is this the partnership with Swansea University then allows students to pursue a 2nd degree at Swansea. The courses they've taken at Trent are prerequisites for their BSc at Swansea. The choice, once you get to Swansea, is you have multiple choices of the direction or the pathway that your BSc is going to take you. And I think we have those listed on our next slide. There we go. So you can choose from applied medical sciences, medical biochemistry, medical genetics, medical pharmacology, or population health and medical sciences. 2 of those actually link up to master's programs. So some students might choose to stick around at Swansea and pursue a master's degree. Students who maintain their 80% GPA while at Swansea are guaranteed an interview to Swansea's medical school. So it's not a promise, but it is a guarantee of that coveted interview spot. And those, as we know, are pretty hard to get. So that is the benefit. Those are some of the benefits of this degree. If you're interested and you've maybe already been to a session with Swansea, or you want to join us and hear more about Swansea, they are an incredible school with an incredibly supportive team of people who welcome international students from Trent and give them a ton of support, including options to work and they every Wednesday afternoon is blocked off. There are no classes so that students can enjoy sports and recreation. Like, how amazing is that? So, so it's a wonderful school. You're right by the ocean. So you're getting international experience there and preparation for various medical pathways. While you're at Trent, you're going to be enjoying all that Trent has to offer. So this program in particular, the dual degree medical pathway, the admission requirements are the same as most other programs, except that we do require a minimum 80% average to apply to the Trent Swansea dual degree medical pathway program. As I mentioned, the Bachelor of Arts and Science portion, the first 2 years of this program are at Trent, nestled within the small and enthusiastic community of Bachelor of Arts and Science. So this program, as I mentioned, we're in our 10th anniversary here, and our mission has been to bring together arts and sciences to think across those disciplines in creative, innovative ways, to use our creativity and critical thinking to become change makers in the world. And I think this might take us to our next slide. That we already know about the guaranteed interview. This is what Trent campus looks like though. On a good day. We enjoy all sorts of wonderful benefits of the campus and also of the BAS program. And so at this point, I'm going to turn it over to one of our graduating Bachelor of Arts and Science students, Jacob Van Hapten, who is currently pursuing a thesis and headed off to grad school next year on a medical pathway as well. So Jacob, would you like to tell us what you enjoy about the BAS program?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I was joking with Jessica the other day because I recently broke my arm, and I said we should put a picture of my x-ray up because this is the medical session, but I see she left that out. So yeah, I'm a fourth-year student in the Bachelor of Arts and Science program. I'm also actually the first thesis student in the program, which is super cool. And the program is absolutely fantastic. And for those of you who are considering doing the dual degree option with Swansea, I can't necessarily speak to Swansea's courses or all of the courses you'd be taking at Trent, but I can say that the core courses in the Bachelor of Arts and Science program are exactly what you need to prepare yourself for a future in interdisciplinary work and medical sciences in general. And I'd also just say there was a really wonderful question in the chat a little while ago about research opportunities in these programs. And I can tell you that from my own experience, each of the core courses in the Bachelor of Arts and Science program has you do an independent research project. And it's not guaranteed, but the way that it's worked out for me is that actually in the first year course, I did a project looking at nature connectedness and its impacts on our mental health. And a couple of the people that I ended up talking to and interviewing for a documentary for that course have actually signed on to be supervisors for me in a graduate degree. So, it's not a guarantee, but the BAS definitely sets you up really well for your future as a researcher, if that's something you're interested in.
Thank you, Jacob. We have smaller classes. Students in the BAS do get personal relationships with their faculty, which can lead to supervision or really stellar reference letters, like the one I recently wrote for Jacob that helped to facilitate. He got himself into grad school, but a good letter doesn't hurt either. So I would agree with Jacob. One of the wonderful things about the BAS core courses that all Bachelor of Arts and Science students take is this interdisciplinary research project that we offer, which involves, for some students, a creative component. So students have done rigorous research across the arts and sciences, like Jacob, looking at mental health and being in nature, and then Jacob produced a documentary film as part of that. So we encourage students to do creative options that help them to kind of grow their skills across disciplines and develop other kinds of, useful and marketable skills that will help to further their career in various ways, and also just enrich them as people. And I think Jacob has spoken eloquently to that as well. Some of the few and wonderful highlights of the Bachelor of Arts and Science program, and I'd encourage you to inquire more, get in touch with me if you like, bas@trentu.ca, and you're welcome to always reach out.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you, Jacob. It's always great to hear that we like to have our students as interdisciplinary thinkers and be able to create all these different perspectives. And it feels like, Jacob, you took advantage of all those opportunities while you're here at Trent, and they know your name as a student, and it sounds like that you're destined for great things. So I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you a couple questions. But my first question for you is, what do you love most about the BAS Medical Sciences Trent Swansea Medical Pathway Dual Degree Program? I know it's a hard question, but what do you love most about it?
Well, again, I can speak specifically to the Bachelor of Arts and Science program. I think we only have a couple of students so far in the joint degree program, but I know I can speak to the core courses specifically. And it's funny, I was actually asked a few days ago to do an interview for the medical stream and the BAS program at Trent for some promo stuff. So you guys will see my face again. And I couldn't stop writing. I'm looking at my slides now that I prepared for that, and it's like a full page of writing about the things I love about the BAS. So it's really hard to distill it, but I think that Jessica and Jillian both pointed out probably one of the best things about Trent in general, and I'd say a program of the size of the BAS, is just really getting to know everyone in your program. I'm on a first name basis with all of my professors. Through the BAS, I've had the opportunity to volunteer in a psychology research lab. I've met future graduate supervisors. I've been in meetings with multiple deans talking about opportunities to shape the program, and it's been a fantastic journey.
Wow, as a fourth year student, you're meeting with deans. That's an amazing opportunity. And I know I heard earlier, Jacob, that you were applying to schools, and Jessica wrote you a reference letter. So it's really great to know that our professors here and faculty, again, have your best wishes and are helping you even past your time here at Trent. So it sounds like you're enjoying your program, Jacob. But some of the students here that are attending today have either heard back from us with an offer, maybe they're in that waiting game, which is the hardest part. But what advice do you have for a student that is interested in studying here at Trent and maybe wanting to pursue a pathway through medicine or graduate school afterwards?
Well, I guess my number one piece of advice would be, accept your offer to Trent. But otherwise, I'd say, like I've talked about already, the connections that you make at Trent, that is something that Trent is really good at. But I would say that it takes a part on the individual too. So as soon as you start your program at whatever school you end up going to, reach out to your professors, reach out to senior students in the program, and both the medical stream and the Bachelor of Arts and Science have upper year students who would be so interested in connecting with you. I've included my email in the chat. So if you have any questions, please reach out, and just start making a name for yourself. It doesn't have to be big, but just send your professor an email, say, I'm really excited to start this course, and introduce yourself. And that's really the best thing that you can do.
That is great advice, especially the first part where you've told them to accept their offer. Students can accept their offer today. We do have a live admissions chat. I will get one of our student staff to, again, put the landing page for the event for today, but you can accept your offer there. And if you did have questions for admissions, feel free to ask them as well today. But Jacob gave us wonderful advice, and clearly he is thriving and enjoying his time here at Trent. And you could talk to students like Jacob or Connor. We do have a Student Connect feature on our website where you can actually talk to students that are currently in programs here at Trent. You can ask them what their experience is like, what they loved about it, but that is also located on our website. But thank you, Jessica and Jacob, for talking about the BAS program here at Trent, as well as that medical pathway dual degree. I think that's a pretty great experience of getting 2 bachelor's degrees in 4 years. It makes me want to go back to school again. But again, this is the medical pathway session. So we do have another section where we are going to talk about the medical professional stream. And this is one of the options that you may have applied to or have seen on our website, as well as our view book. But the MPS is different than a degree program that we've been discussing so far. It is not an academic program like the BAS or chemistry or biomedical science. It's more like an umbrella that is added on top of the academic program that you choose while you're here at Trent. And MPS is an add-on to an accredited degree that will help you succeed in applying and being accepted in a medical degree in Canada. But that isn't all. MPS students also have direct access to medical schools in the West Indies, which I have heard that St. George's University, fun fact that I heard the other day was that they allow you to bring your pet with you if you apply to vet school. But again, it is a stream that's really helpful in, again, preparing you for success and getting those connections again while you're here at Trent, not only with your peers and collaborative learning, but also with professors and different opportunities that you have. So I'm going to pass it along to Linda and Connor, but I'll pass it along to Linda to talk a little bit more about the medical professional stream.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. I certainly appreciate everyone joining today, and maybe this is your first session of the day and you'll be attending other sessions throughout open house. So I just want to let you know that if there's information you heard, but you want more follow-up, please know that we are here to follow up with you, and our contact information is posted, whether we have a Zoom session later on to follow up, that type of thing. We're always willing to provide additional support. I can speak as a parent, sometimes attending open houses, you hear so much information. So we are always happy to go back and address that. So for students on the call or parents on this call today, we may have students in grade 10, 11, 12. We may have students with an offer on the table, if you will. And so, you'll hear us talking about med school, or Connor will talk about vet school, and that's something that may be happening for students, 4, 5, 6 years down the road. And you're thinking, oh my goodness, why are we talking about this now? I just want to get through high school. And the important part is, when you look to where you're going, to ask yourself, how am I going to get there? And so, today we are talking about different ways to support you in that process. And so, as Jillian had mentioned, the medical professional stream, if you consider it a support program, so it is in addition to an undergraduate degree of your choice. And we've heard from Jessica and Jacob talking about pursuing what you're passionate in. Chances are you will excel in what you are passionate in. And so you are completing or participating, if you will, in the medical professional stream as you are fulfilling the academic requirements for your undergraduate degree. So I know that Jillian has the next slide, which is talking about med school, and we'll bring this all together for everyone. So when a student is applying to med school, and again, I know for many of you, this may be 4, 5, 6 years down the road, but it's important to know. So we have 17 medical schools in Canada. Each one has their own set of requirements. It would be easy if every school had the same set, but at the same time, it produces unique experiences for students. So med schools, some med schools will have certain course prerequisites that they want you to have taken. So that's important to know when you're attending university that you're taking the correct courses, if that's the case. Most schools medical schools will also require you to have completed the MCAT if you're pursuing medicine, which is the medical college's admissions test, or if you're applying for dentistry, it's the DAT. And so not only completing those admissions testings, but receiving a competitive score, that's super important. Also a competitive GPA. So in other words, when you complete your time at Trent University, that you have a grade point average that is competitive for those who are applying. When you're applying to medical school as well, what is really important is having an autobiographical sketch. And what that means is an opportunity for you to really shine, to let a school know what makes you unique as an applicant. And so you're going to identify employment opportunities you've had, volunteering, extracurricular, awards, research such as what Jacob's talked about. And perhaps you're an avid photographer and you want to share how have you seen life through the lens. And so there's really neat opportunities. And so in terms of the autobiographical sketch, that's also where the medical professional stream can support you as we get to know you, we get to know what your goals are, then we look at volunteer opportunities, that type of thing. When students are also applying to med school, they may need to do a supplementary essay or a supplementary questions. And so again, you can reflect on your time at Trent, that's important. CASPER is a situational exam. And then lastly, second last is confidential assessments or references, which are super, super important when you are applying to a professional medical program. Both Jacob and Connor have been through that process. They know the importance. And so when you are asking an academic reference or perhaps a non-academic, I've been a non-academic reference for students, if your reference knows you well, then they can speak to your qualities and your skills. And so, for example, when I was a reference for students applying to schools in the fall, I was asked about the students' teamwork, problem solving, compassion and empathy. And if I know the student well, then I'm able to comment on that. And so that's so important, and so important to have those connections. And then of course, what everyone's hoping for is that interview. And, so we have students right now that are waiting for interviews. And so we had a session a couple of weeks ago with an academic provider. And so there was some mock interviews that we did and that type of thing. So in terms of preparing students. And so the other is what I would encourage students in high school is to encourage you that what you are doing now matters. So if you are participating in a student group in high school, you're playing sports, perhaps you're providing tutoring support to a student, those experiences can be recognized on your medical school application. Fast forward 4 or 5 years from now. So any experience from the age of 16 onward can be recognized, and that's really important. So one shout out I'd love to give to students right now is, if you're in your graduating year and you're leaving your high school, you're leaving your favorite student leader, that type of thing, make sure to get their contact information. Perhaps ask for that personal email address. Make sure to get a phone number, because again, in 4 or 5 years from now, you may be contacting your contacts from high school, and while you're still there, that's the time to get that information. So anyway, and then we'll move on to the next slide, Jillian, thanks. Excellent. So the CanMed Framework, this is something as prospective students interested in medicine, you will hear more and more about over your time at any university, and certainly when you're applying to med school. So the CanMed Framework was identified by the College of Physicians and Surgeons as to the qualities, the skills and attributes that a successful medical professional should have. So you almost look at it as a flower, if you will, and in the center is medical expert. And so you're looking at professional skills, a communicator, a collaborator, a leader, a health advocate, and a scholar, all coming together to be that medical expert. And so when students are taking on volunteer activities, extracurricular activities, you can then identify, for example, how those experiences then relate to the CanMed Framework. Often when students are applying to med school, they're asked to structure their experiences related to the CanMed Framework. Or for example, as a referee, I was asked to structure my response in regard to the CanMed Framework. So again, we have Jacob and Connor that have done volunteer activities, and we can think, I'm thinking of Jacob when you were a teaching assistant in the first year course, being a professional, the importance of communication, both written and oral, being a collaborator. So you're collaborating with your course instructor, you are a leader, you are an advocate. And so those are all the skills. And so we're really trying to draw out those skills for students. And so I just wanted to put this on here, and I'll be sure to put the link to the CanMed Framework in the chat box. But again, something for students to start thinking about in terms of experiences. You don't, sometimes students think they must volunteer in a hospital, for example, to gain skills that make them attractive to a medical school. And that's not necessarily the case. So again, look at different volunteer experiences and ask yourself, how are you able to achieve the qualities and skills identified? So thanks, Jillian. So we talk about the benefits of the medical professional stream. And so, obviously, you have the benefit as a student of meeting with upper year students. You have the benefit of the knowledge of upper year students. So I know Connor's already agreed, in his journey to vet school to come back and talk to us. And we'll be tracking him down. Maybe we all want to go visit you at St. George's, but I'll leave that for later for you to chat about. But also, one-on-one academic advising. We offer sessions with professionals. We talk about different allied health professions. So for example, we had a physician assistant come and speak to our students. One of our students is attending optometry school in the fall. And so this student will be sharing her experiences. She'll be writing the OAT, which is the optometry admissions test. And so, you benefit from programming within the MPS. And then certainly in addition, students are also benefiting from, we have career exploration, resume writing workshops, speaker series, and then autobiographical sketch building. We talk about that. And certainly access to partner schools, partner medical schools. And so I'll just, we'll switch to talking about St. George's for a moment here. So Trent has partnered with 3 international medical schools, one being St. George's School of Medicine and School of Veterinary Medicine. So students interested in the people medicine and the animal medicine. In Grenada, the West Indies, we certainly have the University of Medical and Health Sciences in St. Kitts, and then the Trinity School of Medicine in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And unfortunately, we weren't able to have one of our students who participated, but we had 3 students as part of the medical professional stream go down to Georgia in the States last fall, and they participated in a fully funded 1-week mini clerkship to see what it was like to be in medical school. And one of those students is now going to Trinity School of Medicine in the fall. So that's super exciting. Thanks. So beautiful pictures of St. George's here. And I understand they have one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And then the next slide shows just the the relationship. So students studying human medicine and students studying vet medicine, one of the unique opportunities for students in both the School of Medicine and School of Veterinary Medicine is they together go out to communities on the island and host clinics. So, the vet students are supporting the animals and the pets, and the med students are supporting the owners. And so that there's really unique opportunities for some joint adventures. Thank you. And Trinity Medical Sciences University, again, they are offering a 1-week fully funded mini clerkship. And then when students progress to doing rotations, that can be done in Canada or the US. And then, of course, we have the University of Medicine and Health Sciences in St. Kitts as well. And again, wonderful staff to a family-owned medical center. And all of the advisors from the different international medical schools are there to support students at every step along the way. And so requirements into the medical professional stream, a minimum 80% average. You need your English for you. You are going to complete a mini autobiographical sketch for the medical professional stream, 500-word limit, as well as a mini essay. So thank you. And so I'll be introducing Connor. And so when I reflect back on Connor's mini autobiographical sketch that he completed when he applied to Trent University, he talked about his passion for vet medicine, and that passion started before he attended Trent. And certainly, what Connor wrote about in when he was completing his application to attend Trent, and where he's going now, it's come full circle. And that is super, super exciting. And so I'm going to introduce Connor. Picture on the left is Connor. That day, I still remember clicking the submit button that he did to apply to St. George's School of Veterinary Medicine. And then his fur babies on the right-hand side. And I'm not sure how you might be able to fit those in your suitcase to go to St. George's. But certainly, Connor, over to you to share, what you've enjoyed about Trent University, the medical professional stream, and perhaps some of the things that you did at Trent to make you stand out and your application stand out. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so unfortunately, my 2 guys there, Baxter and Abby, are a little too big to travel over to Grenada with me, but they will manage. So yeah, the nice thing about the MPS that I found is, like Linda said, it's an addition to your degree, and you're able to choose kind of any degree that you're interested in to tag along with your MPS. So whether it's chemistry, biomedical, science, biology, or whatever the other tons of degrees Trent offers. And it's just a helpful tool to help gain the knowledge and resources needed to apply to vet school and med school and these medical professional schools. Like you can make personal connections, professional connections. There's a whole lot of connection building throughout. I can touch a little bit more on veterinary medicine and the medical aspect of it, but it's a really nice having a smaller community inside the already small Trent community that you're already involved in. And everyone is willing to help each other out, whether you're in medical or veterinarian or whatever your goal is. Everyone's willing to help each other out. Bunch of my really good friends are all in the MPS who are medical students, and we're always sharing resources we know find or webinars that we enjoy. And touching on the application process, it's something that you actually start very first day you start in the MPS. You may not notice it, but all these workshops and webinars and speakers you attend help build the process of building your application up. When it comes time to actually do your application, you realize you've already got everything put together you need, and just getting involved. I've been a student ambassador with the student ambassador office. So I do some tours. I do this Unibuddy student question answering. I help Linda with some veterinary resources for MPS. So it's just a good thing to get involved at the university. It doesn't have to be something really big and massive, even if you're part of some smaller clubs or groups. Even if you're out in the community, there's always stuff, community events looking for people. So you just kind of want to get involved and do your thing, but find stuff you enjoy, and it makes it go much easier for you.
I really liked how you used the word community, Connor, and that smaller community within the bigger community of Trent. It sounds like you've made the most of your time here at Trent with making those connections and seeking out those opportunities for you to shine on your application. And clearly it worked. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I love that picture on the left where you're submitting your application. Most people look super, I feel like that moment in time is super nervous, but you look so happy. You look so prepared.
It was a breath of fresh air to submit it, and then the waiting game started after that. So that was a whole nother process on its own.
Yeah. Well, I guess my question for you, I'll keep you on the spot. But what did you love most about your time at Trent and being part of the medical professional stream?
Again, most people touched on it. It's again the small group within the already smaller groups that we put you in at Trent. It's just everyone willing to work together. You're not competing against these people you're in the MPS with. You're all working together with each other. You're all have a common goal to get to somewhere in medical, whether it's research or doctors or veterinarians, and everyone's just willing to help each other out. There's no necessarily competition. Everyone helps each other out on applications. Like I know that I've submitted mine and have been accepted. I got friends who are still going through the process, and they're asking me about what to do, how to wait, like what can they be doing in the meantime or whatnot. And it's a nice group to have to help lay everything out for you need to do along the way. And it's not a huge burden to do on your own. You're not sitting there the week before you have to get your applications in and trying to get everything together. It helps you get the process in a nice organized manner. And it got me, as you know, to my goal of getting into veterinary medicine. And now in a couple short months, I'll be moving down to Grenada to fulfill my goal.
Yeah, and we're all very jealous of you. Those pictures earlier were beautiful. But I really liked, again, how you touched upon the supports. And that's one thing that a lot of people attending today, you might be students, you might be parents of students, guardians, or any other additional supports of students that are applying to Trent. But that's something that we look past is the supports that you need while you're here and your studies. It's the support that you get in your education, but just motivational supports. And it sounds like you've made lasting friendships that will last you for quite some time, especially when you move on to the beaches, when you go to vet school. Perfect. And so my last question for you, Connor, is what advice do you have for students that are interested in the medical professional stream?
First, I want to say, at any university, you want to stop and smell the roses. I know it's a kind of a cheesy saying, but it does go by quick. Like, it literally felt like yesterday I moved into residence on my first day, and then now it feels like tomorrow I'm packing my bags and moving down south. So it's a very quick process that will go through in a quick blink of an eye. But students who are looking to get the MPS and Trent in general, just make sure it's something you enjoy. Like pick something you enjoy to do, and something I've always wanted to do, and so I did it. And again, like the resources, Trent has so many amazing resources, especially through the MPS as well, that if you need help with anything, ask it, reach out. There's no shortage of supports anywhere. And the nice thing about the MPS is you can choose any degree you want that interests you as well. You're not stuck doing biology or chemistry or whatever that doesn't interest you. You could select anything that interests you. And as long as you meet prerequisites for the med schools you're looking to apply to, you're all set. And yeah, Trent's a great school. I love it here, and I'm glad I came. And there's a lot of great advantages with the MPS that Linda touched on, and just again the whole community aspect of it.
I think you and Jacob had said it best. Jacob said, accept your offer. That's the first step. And you said it best. The second step is knowing that you have all the resources here, that you're going to be part of a community. And we're so flexible in the different options that you have for degrees. But your path later on, we have all those supports here at Trent. So I think those are two great pieces of advice from Jacob and Connor. And thank you for sharing your experiences. And so what I'm going to do next here is I'm going to put our contact information there for the medical professional stream, mps@trentu.ca if you did have any further questions, as well as bas@trentu.ca. for the Bachelor's of Arts and Science dual degree medical pathway, if you did have any questions as well. But I have a really great slide next that Linda and Jessica can touch upon, especially for students that are thinking of medical school. This is a great resource for you to take a look at, especially right now when you're thinking about what your future options may be. And I'll pass it on to Linda or Jessica if you had any additional advice or comments based off of this wonderful slide here.
Thanks for sure. No, so this slide is a great opportunity to try and capture a snapshot, if you will, of different pathways to medicine. And so we are encouraging students to chart your own pathway, if you will. There is no set requirement, if you will, and so there are options. And so, you know, it starts by choosing the undergraduate degree that you're interested in pursuing, whether it's a Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, or Bachelor of Arts and Science. And you may or may not require identifying your major at this point. And that certainly can happen throughout your first year. It depends, again, how you're applying and what you're applying for at Trent. And I see in the chat some questions about applying and whether myself in the MPS or admissions can answer those. We'll certainly get to the bottom of any questions that you may have. And so it just really talks about, you know, tailoring your degree, the opportunity for research. And then, of course, this amazing new program with the Trent Swansea is over in the left, and that's highlighted. But again, the 3 Caribbean schools that we have partnerships with, students, you know, are required to maintain a minimum cumulative average, complete, you know, and have a competitive MCAT score, and then they are offered an interview as well. So to the schools.
Perfect. Thank you, Linda. This is such a great resource, and I'm sure that we will have this up on our website and be able to share with students that are interested in it as well. And this session is being recorded, so if you did want to look back, or maybe you have some friends that are interested and couldn't make it, you can always share the link to them as well. And then just the last slide here before we get into our live Q&A, we do have in-person spring open house coming up very soon. And hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer outside, but these are in person. So at the Durham GTA campus, Saturday, April the 30th from 11 to 2 p.m. And then at the Peterborough campus here, Saturday, May 7th from 10 to 2 p.m. Very exciting that we're starting to be able to get back into some in-person events, and you can come see the beauty of our campus. And so I think I've seen a lot of questions come into the chat there, and I see a lot of our students, staff, as well as Linda and Jessica answering some questions, but I see some common questions that we are getting as well. So Jessica, Linda, Jacob, and Connor, I'm going to put you back on the hot seats and ask you some questions. Okay, let's see here. Linda, are you able to share with us again the partner medical schools that we have, as well as if students are able to practice in Canada after they study there?
For sure. So the three schools that we partner with is St. George's School of Medicine. We have University Medicine and Health Sciences in St. Kitts, and Trinity School of Medicine in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And so when students are attending medical school, they are typically attending med school for 4 years. The first 2 years are typically your in course or in person, if you will, studies. And the second 2 years are typically going through clinical rotations. You have your core clinical rotations. So areas of, internal medicine, family medicine. So there's 7 areas. And then in your last year of medical school, you're picking your elective. So you start thinking about where you're wanting to focus. When a student is complete those 4 years, then the next step is they're going on to do the rotations, which is, what we're seeing, like even on TV shows, right? You see those med students with their white coats on, they're in the hospitals, the teaching hospitals. And so students are doing that over the next typically 78 weeks, and that's happening. And then along the way, students who are studying internationally are recognized as internationally trained medical students. And so for students then applying for rotations back in Canada or the US, there is a process for that. There are licensing exams along the way. And so it's really hard in this session to really talk about, all of the steps along the way. And certainly we encourage students who have really specific questions about that we also get them in touch with our colleagues at the medical schools, because students, and I see that a question in the chat is in terms of paying fees, you are paying your fees directly to the medical school. Typically, the 3 schools that I've referred to are in US dollars. And so, it's also important to ask all of these questions to the medical school. That's where you would be attending. That's where you'll be paying your fees. You want to know what supports they will provide you in terms of being able to come back to Canada or practice in the US. And certainly, I think students need to be prepared if they are pursuing an international school, to keep all of their options open, to say to themselves, am I prepared to work in the States? Because that may very well be a reality. Some students are coming back and doing rotations in Canada. It is more competitive in that regard, but certainly happy to follow up more one-on-one with students in that process.
Perfect. Thank you, Linda. That's a very great answer and very descriptive for students that, again, had those questions. Jessica, I'm going to put you on the spot this time. Could you tell us about maybe experiential learning opportunities that students can put on their resume or their application in the BAS Medical Sciences program, and what their time at Swansea is like?
We can have a whole other session about that, and we actually do. So stay tuned for upcoming sessions, or maybe some of the students here attended already sessions with Swansea and representatives from Swansea who can speak to the really wonderful opportunities at Swansea as well. I believe that there are, like opportunities at Swansea. Sorry, I'm a little flustered because this has just been such a great session, and there have been so many interesting questions in the chat. Experiential learning at Trent is growing day by day. So the Honors Bachelor of Arts and Science is on the cusp of being one of the flagship co-op programs at Trent. Yay! That said, that is a 4-year program at Trent. So if people wanted to stay as part of their pre-medical studies without the Swansea portion, they would be welcomed into applying to the BAS co-op, which could involve having placements that would assist them in their dreams of becoming a medical professional. And I would say part of the benefit of BAS at Trent, whether it's the 2 years as part of the Swansea or a 4-year honors BAS at Trent, is that combining of disciplines. So I think about not just future medical doctors, but future dentists or optometrists or people who have to run their own business. I've had students study biology and business, which is going to give them the credentials, right, to become a medical professional, but also a person who can have the communication skills and the acumen, the kind of skills that they would need to actually be a small business owner or to run their own business independently. So those are some of the benefits. I would say within the BAS, even if students are choosing, or especially if they're choosing the Swansea dual degree pathway, as Jacob mentioned, within each of the BAS core courses, there's a robust self-directed research project that involves sort of creative components. So as Jacob mentioned, he made a short film and he reached out to a local pharmacist, the director of hospice, and the director of the First People's House of Learning at Trent, and the leader of a nature relatedness lab at Trent's in Trent's psychology department. So really branching out and making those connections. And then Jacob ended up with a place in that lab. So he's now working in the nature relatedness lab at Trent, sorry, as well as Jacob volunteered at hospice one summer I believe that was just after your first year, Jacob. So there are all sorts of opportunities that we can explore. And because this dual degree program with Swansea is so brand new, we're really in this amazing kind of growth phase, and we're discovering more and more ways that we can incorporate things like experiential learning and work placements and all sorts of other good stuff.
Thank you, Jessica. It shows, again, there's so many advantages of being part of the BAS program. And again, that interdisciplinary way of thinking and all this content from different areas that you can bring into your practice later on and what you decide to pursue afterwards. I am cognizant of time, but I do have one more question for Connor and Jacob. These are the hardest questions of the day, I promise you. But Connor, my question for you is, I know Linda was talking a lot of events and supports and different sessions that the MPS hosts, but do you have a favorite one, or maybe one that you're like, wow, I didn't think this would be something that, you know, would stick with me throughout your time, but is there a favorite event or a session that you attended?
Well, that is a hard question. There are so many. A lot of them are ones that you don't think really, not that they provide much, but ones you think, oh, it's just a regular resume building was a really big one that I found was very helpful. When we did some of in my early years, we did some mock interviews. There was a session that we did when I was in first year that was actually all about researching medical schools, which was a very helpful session because it helps you look properly, I guess, into what you need to look for to apply to these schools, helps you find the admissions you need, what's required to apply. I think that's a very helpful one because it really showed you the importance of doing useful research into these schools, not just a quick research, finding what you need to do and move on. So that was, I think, probably one of the most helpful ones that I found throughout my time here at the MPS.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And again, you benefited from it, which is wonderful. And then lastly, Jacob, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm going to put you on the spot to end us off today. What is maybe one of your favorite courses in the BAS program? And Jessica is here, so if she's been your prof for a course, we'll let it slide if there's not a certain course that Jessica has taught. But what's your favorite course that you've taken so far?
That's really tough. Jessica's been the professor for most of them, actually. So, but yeah, no, that's really tough. I can honestly say of the 4 BAS courses, they're probably my top 4 courses I've ever taken at Trent. But I think I have a sort of a sweet spot for the intro first year course, 1001. So even if you're not in the program, definitely take that course. And maybe I'll be your TA next year, who knows?
That's amazing. I always love hearing, what brings you joy within the programs that you're in or the stream that you're in, because again, like I asked you those questions and something came to mind and you probably pictured a moment in time that you'll carry on with you. But again, I am cognizant of time and other different sessions that we do have today. But we have reached the end of our session today here for the medical pathways. And I know that, again, we will be here to support you right now throughout your time at Trent. And maybe when you come in the fall, you can see these familiar faces that you've met today virtually. I would like to thank Linda, Jessica, Connor, and Jacob for being here today and sharing all your knowledge. It's always a pleasure seeing you folks. But again, this session is recorded and we'll post it on our open house webpage for you to watch again or share with your family members to show them, you know, the program that you might be part of or the stream that you might be part of in September. And again, I'd like to invite you to come visit our campuses in person. We are hosting in-person tours 6 days a week, as well as our in-person open house, which is so exciting. But I'll also get our student staff to put the landing page for the event today in the chat so you can take a look at all the other sessions. And I think there are a couple sessions starting now and in a little bit. But again, thank you everyone for joining us today and thank you to my panelists. But I hope you enjoy the rest of the day and the rest of the event. Take care, everyone. Bye.